like to start with a little video to kind of set the mood for today. Words to live by. Well, good afternoon. Now, being a neuropsychologist, sir, the first thing I need to do is awaken your
Brain.
Okay, we're off to a good start. And after a long day, we know the brain learns best when it's in motion. So go ahead and stand, find a partner. We're going to do a brain awakening activity. Go ahead and stand, find a partner. We're going to do a brain awakening activity. Okay, and we should be okay. So I can be somebody's partner. Okay. So you got somebody? Okay. You'll be my partner. Okay, she'll come and be my partner. Okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to tell your partner 3 things about yourself. But you cannot use your words. You have to gesture. You have to pantomime. You have to act out 3 things about yourself. They can use their words to guess what 3 things you told them. So go ahead, 3 things about yourself without using your words. Okay, go ahead. You love to swim? Okay, good. You love children?
Yeah.
Okay. You love to bicycle? Okay, good. I got all 3. Okay. So, okay.
Or golf. Was that golf or baseball?
Golf, yeah.
Golf. Sky. Fly.
Okay.
Looking over. Hang gliding stuff.
Okay, that's fine. I'll give you a second. Okay, if you can hear my voice, right hand up in the air. If you can hear my voice, left hand up in the air. If you can hear my voice, both hands on your head, shoulders on your hips, and have a seat if you could. Watch baseball. Okay. Okay. Now that we have your brains as far as awakened and that you're aware, these are referred to as icebreaker activities. And we're going to use a lot of different icebreakers, especially when the energy level seems to be dissipating as far as within the room. In addition, these are also referred to as energizers. That's sometimes as far as we need something to kind of boost that energy up, because after a long day working with your students, that sometimes you just need a little rush of energy. So instead of taking that 5-hour energy drink, we're going to use some energizers as far as throughout this particular presentation and the time that we are together. Okay, now I've discovered if you work for Cincinnati Public Schools, you can associate with some of these characteristics. Am I correct? Some of you are overworked, overcommitted, under fire, over-legislated, under-protected, over-scrutinized, or just plain tired. In fact, if you work for Cincinnati Public Schools, especially within the last 6 years, you could relate to this next slide. But the good news is that we have a job, and we have a job we are passionate about, because you could have this position. That is how they used to test down at Procter & Gamble. Yeah. So they used to test at Procter & Gamble the different types of deodorants. Okay, so I want to see how long you have worked as far as for CPS. In a moment, you're going to give me a finger. Please don't have it be the middle finger. So if you're what I call a rookie, you're going to give me 1 finger under your chin. If you are returning, 2 fingers. If you are what I call seasoned, 3. If you're a veteran, you lost count, 4. And if you're retiring after this year, thumbs up. Go and show me the number of fingers you've worked for CPS. Okay, I see lots of veterans and seasoned. Also, I see a rookie too. Anybody retiring? I don't see any thumbs up.
Maybe.
Okay, great. Now, I have some very, very simple what I call expectations for us when we are together as adult learners. First of all, I'm going to ask you as far as to be responsible. We are going to take breaks, maybe 1, possibly 2, and to come back as far as promptly, because we have lots of great things as far as to discuss. Second, be respectful. If you have a cell phone, please put it on vibrate if you need to take the call, because I know a lot of you as far as have children, responsibilities, feel free to step outside as far as to take that particular call. And last is, be kind. The key is, I'm going to learn from you, and hopefully you may learn something from me. But the importance as far as to have an open mind with some of the particular ideas that we're going to be discussing as far as in the 4 times together. So those are my expectations for you as adult learners. Now, does anybody know how much you're going to forget from today's presentation? Normal learning curve of the adult human brain.
80%.
Higher!
Really?
Yeah, really.
How much are we going to lose?
How much are you going to forget? 95%, absolutely correct.
Really?
You can possibly forget from today's presentation unless we do some very creative things to help you remember more. And here's the first, I call the brain review chart. So please take a piece of paper that I've put at your tables. I use very expensive materials, by the way. So if you can take a piece of paper if you could. And as you take that piece of paper, hold it horizontally, as I have. And as you hold it horizontally, we're going to fold into 3 equal columns. Okay. Now, on the first column, I'm going to have you write the word what. In other words, that's going to be something you're going to learn today in the what column. The second column is a very, very important column, especially for middle school students, because it's the so what. It's the reflection column. In other words, putting the information into their own words. Because if this is a true example, a lot of times what occurs is that some of your students will actually take notes. They'll write down everything they see up on the PowerPoint or on the board. They'll go home, they'll study word for word. They'll come in the next day to take the test, and guess what? You change the wording. And what happens to some of those students? They fall apart and become frustrated. So when they can put the information into their own words, the reflection, so what, becomes part of their permanent repertoire. It becomes true learning and not memorization. Okay? And the last is what we call now what. How are you going to take that information and apply it to your students and your team when you return back to school tomorrow? Okay, so please take the 3-column sheet, put it aside, and we'll come back to that a little bit later. Okay, as I said, reflection piece is a very important piece, especially for our middle school students. And then what I've done is that this is actually a different instruction activity, and I put some other examples that people have used, the 3-column sheets, because it might be a tool that you want to use as far as within your class. And these are some examples of different columns, and if I'm not mistaken, in your handouts, or at least on the handouts that you'll see as far as on the website, you'll see that particular slide. So feel free to use any information that might be helpful to you today. Okay, and we know as far as when students actually can summarize information, they increase their level of achievement by 34%. So why it's so important to us as educators. Okay, we're moving on, and we do have a couple of objectives that we're going to talk about in a moment. But before we do that, I need to kind of find out who's in the group, and we want to find out each other who we are. So what I'd like you to do is take another piece of paper, if you could, please. And on that piece of paper is you're going to go ahead and write your first name, your role in the school or the program, and last, what is your greatest teaching accomplishment to date? Your greatest teaching accomplishment to date. Okay? Okay. And ladies, I'm going to have you kind of come out from the back because this is going to be like a motion type of activity, so it'll be a little easier to move because I almost feel like you're trapped back there, so I want to make sure they have the opportunity as far as to move about. Okay, here's what's going to occur as far as with this particular activity. When everybody's standing, I'm going to say, go ahead and begin. And you're going to introduce yourself. When you introduce yourself, you're going to say who you are, your role at the school, and your greatest teaching accomplishment. Once that occurs from both individuals, you're going to go ahead and rotate, find a new person, until you hopefully introduce yourself to as many people as possible. So go ahead and pair up and introduce yourself. I'm going to begin over here. Okay. Oh no, you just moved on the other way. Okay, and you are. Okay,
I'm
and
Coach,
Math
and
Coach.
just having the kids like bombs go off.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, and I'm Dr. Bill. I'm your presenter and facilitator. I'll tell you what my greatest accomplishment is later. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so go ahead and when somebody opens up, go ahead and pair up with them. Okay, I'm going to have you have a seat. Go ahead and back to your seats. Okay, Okay, I see we have a lot of wonderful accomplishments as far as in this room, and hopefully we're going to build upon those accomplishments, because in one of the sessions we're going to talk about your strengths, and you're going to have the opportunity to take the strength survey, determine what your actual strengths are, and more importantly, how others view you and your particular strengths, and most importantly, how these strengths as far as add up to give you what we call a idea or model of your collaboration as a team. Okay, so I do have a couple goals for today, some objectives. First is we're going to understand the importance of why we need collaboration as far as within Cincinnati Public Schools. Hopefully we'll find out some of your ideas, but I'll show you also some of the ideas that I've come across, why collaboration is important. Second, it's a 4-stage process that now has become a 5-stage process. You're actually going to learn what the steps are regarding collaboration and teaming, that particular process. And more importantly, we're going to determine where your team happens to be at what stage. Whether you have your team here today as a whole, or whether your team is somewhere else, by taking the survey, you'll have a good idea of where your team happens to be. So those are kind of our objectives. And then there's a fourth objective, and one of the things that big on collaboration and teaming is developing, and a lot of you mentioned, relationships. So you're going to have the opportunity to really get to know each other a lot better in our 4 sessions together. That's kind of the goal that's built in throughout. So you might not want to know them that well, but as I said, you're going to have the opportunity as far as to get to know them a lot better. Okay. Now, Dr. Bill is really big as far as on neuroscience, and collaboration fits into this whole piece as far as regarding the social neuroscience. And one of the things is that in order for you to get to know each other, whether your team or this entire group, is I need to divide you up at times, especially today, for specific discussion. Now here's what occurs. Sometimes as far as when I ask people and actually students to work together, who do they usually pick? Their friends. So we want to break up those /cliques a little bit today, so you have the opportunity to work with lots and lots of different people. So for the second activity, please take a piece of paper if you could. We're going to make something called your appointment schedule. As you take that piece of paper, please go ahead and fold it in half if you could. And then go ahead and fold it in half again. I know some of you are math majors, and if I open it up, I think I have 4 rectangles. Is that correct? Okay. So what I'd like for you to do, as I have listed, these are the 4 most popular sports that we watch. Now, if we say play, we would include soccer. This is something that resonates as far as with your 7th and 8th grade students. So what I'd like for you to do is either a word, a letter, an association, a drawing, a symbol, represent those 4 popular sports we watch as I have them in that order on your paper. Going to represent those particular 4 sports. A word, a letter, association, a symbol. Leave it up to you. A drawing. So, okay, now I'm going to ask, this is kind of a movement activity to kind of move you about and team you up. So I'm going to ask my 3 wonderful ladies here if you can come out to join me again. It'll just be a little bit easier. Okay, I'm going to have everybody stand, if you could please, with a writing instrument. And here's what we're going to do. Is we're going to pair up. Now we're going to be odd numbers, so I will be somebody's, quote, partner, but I'll be who's ever left over, I will be their partners. Okay, so first, we want you to find somebody, okay, and it's only a dyad, no threesomes allowed, somebody with the same color eyes that you have. Go ahead and match up with somebody who has the same color eyes that you have. Okay, same color eyes. Okay, so you're going to be my partner. Okay, what I'd like you to do, write that person's name down in your football rectangle. Write that person's name down in your football rectangle. Find out who they are, write their name down in your football rectangle. Okay, well that's good. I'm going to have you just be partners here. Okay, pair up. Okay. Okay. Okay, wonderful. Now, for the next, it's going to be baseball. Baseball? Thanks, Joe. And for baseball, you're going to find somebody who has the same number of children that you have. Somebody has the same number of children that you have. Okay.
Can it be someone we know?
Yeah, I'll give you someone you know. That's fine. Yeah, we'll match you up by characteristics. Okay, we got 0 here. Okay, who's left over? Okay, now I'm gonna have you. You're gonna be my partner. We have no threesomes. Okay. Okay, so you're gonna put Dr. Bill.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're moving on to hockey. Okay. For hockey, you're gonna find somebody who has the last digit as you do on your cell phone, whether even or odd. For example, if your last digit, like mine, is a 9, I am odd. I need to find somebody who also has an odd number, last digit of their cell phone number. Odd or even. Go ahead. See if you can find that person. Okay, you're going to be my partner. Okay, Dr. Bill. Okay, that is hockey. Okay, and I think the last one is basketball. Is that correct? Basketball. What I've done is, wonderful math teachers, these are quadrants, am I correct? I have put Mayerson Academy right here in the middle. You're going to find somebody who lives in the same quadrant as you do based on Mayerson Academy. So if you live, like, for example, up in Ross, you would probably be in the northwest. We find somebody who also lives in the northwest quadrant. So go ahead and find somebody who lives in the same quadrant with Mayerson being in the middle.
So is this Burnett? Burnett's the divider?
You could say that. Yeah, you could say that. You know. Okay. 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 Northwest. See if we can find somebody northwest. Okay. You might be my partner then. Okay, you'll be my partner. Okay, so you write down Dr. Bill. Okay, perfect. Okay, and go ahead and have a seat for me then, once you complete your appointment schedule. Okay, now for this particular next part of the activity, is you're going to find your football partner. So go ahead and sit or stand next to your football partner for the next part of this activity. Introduction to collaboration. Okay, now, as you stand or sit next to your football partner, here's what you're going to do. One of you is going to make a fist. Okay? So one of you is going to make a fist and make it as tight as possible. Now I'm going to make a fist for us. Okay? Okay. Okay? Now, here's what's going to occur. When I count to 3, on 3, I want the other particular person to go ahead and undo the fist of the person who's next to them, okay? Now wait until I count. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. How many of you asked them to open up their hand? No. When your reptilian brain competition saw that type of activity, it wanted to lash out and rip that hand right off. Instead of the higher cognitive processes, tell that brain to do something else, such as tell them to open up their hand. Collaboration, win-win problem solving is based on the proactive part of the brain, where competition, conflicts are based on the reptilian part of the brain, the lashing out, reactive approach to resolving issues. Okay, now I'm going to have you stay in your groups because we're actually going to our next activity. And the next activity happens to be a DI activity. It's the think, pair, and share. And in a moment, as far as you are going to introduce yourself to your partner, you're going to find out about their teaching experience, and most importantly, their experience with collaboration, and you will be introducing that person to the entire group. Okay? So, go ahead, spend a few minutes. Okay, you ready? Okay, I'm going to sit here. You have your writing instrument? You need to take notes? Okay. So, I will go ahead and begin. So, Okay. So I'm going to borrow your writing
You want my
instrument.
writing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So because I might be introducing you.
Oh,
Okay. I think it's
at the end, yes.
Oh, there it is. Oh, wow. I like it. Okay. So.
I'm Anne.
Anne.
Yeah.
And I want to say you are from Clark?
Yeah.
Oh, how about that? How about that?
Very good.
Clark Montessori. And your position is?
7th and 8th grade language arts social studies.
Language arts teacher. Okay. And how long you been at Clark?
I have been there a total of 8 years.
Okay, 8 years at Clark?
Not continuous, but 8.
Okay, 8 years. Now, were you anywhere before that?
In between, I helped to start Gamble, so I was 5 years
Gamble!
ago.
Gamble Montessori. Okay. Started Gamble. Okay. The architect. Started Gamble. Okay.
And
Now,
prior to that, I was a mom for 12 years.
okay, mom for 12 years.
I taught elementary for
Wow, I don't know if I have enough years to add up. No.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
7 years, I think.
Okay, and how about collaboration, your experience with collaboration?
I would say my best experience with collaboration is working with my intervention specialist this
Okay,
year, and then I have a teacher that I team with and an IA that a couple of IAs we work together.
okay. Specialists and also IAs. Now, any other collaboration as far as with your teams,
we
like
work in
your
language
support
arts and social
teams?
studies teams,
Okay, so you got,
my team,
okay.
ILT.
So, are you on the ILT then?
Mhm.
Okay, so at least 3 other opportunities for teaming collaboration?
I'd say 4 others, yeah.
Okay, 4 others, because the interesting thing is that when we do the survey, I'm going to have you pick one of those teams,
Okay.
and you're going to decide what stage that team is, and you can actually quickly go through all 4 teams, and you can see that they're
Okay.
probably at different stages.
Oh, yeah.
And more importantly, that you're going to be the expert to help that team actually solidify and strengthen.
That's when I became team
Yeah.
leader.
Yes. Okay. Well, perfect. Perfect. Great. So, okay. Wonderful. Well, you know, I'm Dr. Bill.
Yes.
I'm your presenter as far as in collaboration. I was associated with Cincinnati Public Schools for 25 years as the early childhood psychologist.
Love early
And I
childhood.
love, yes. So I was with CPS for 25 years. Before that, I worked at St. Rita's School for the Deaf as a teacher, and also I coached as far as teams and was an RA. And then regarding collaboration, in addition, I worked on this project as far as collaboration. Last year, I worked with 5 of our high schools that had 7th and 8th grade for the first team and worked with those specific teams on as far as collaboration. We had huge success, and that's why I decided to have this part of the, quote, the 7th and 8th grade academy, high school academy.
Thank you for doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I
so
appreciate it.
yeah, so we had a wonderful time and learned a lot. So okay, great. Okay, we're gonna do introductions. Okay, now we're gonna take this particular activity to a higher level. What's going to occur, because we seem to be the right number, is your dyad is going to find another dyad. You're gonna form a quad, and you're going to go ahead and share with them about you, or your partner might share. But most importantly, one person from each quad will be introducing the other 3 members of the quad to the entire group. So go ahead, make a foursome and share. Okay, I think we're going to go over here. It's going to be our foursome. Okay. Okay, we're going to come over. We're going to be your foursome. Okay. And I think we come up to your table. It'll be easier. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I will begin. I'm going to begin by introducing Anne. Anne's from Clark Montessori. She's a language arts teacher, also a lead for the 7th and 8th grade. She's been at Clark for at least 8 years, and then in between that 8 years, she actually started the Gamble Montessori program. So she took some time to work on that. And before she actually began her teaching career, or kind of a break in between, she was a mom for 12 years, and then she was an elementary school teacher before being a mom. So she's had a long history working with children and also collaborating. But currently, she collaborates with her intervention specialists, which is wonderful, in addition to with her IAs, and she's also on 4 teams, and she's excited to find out where her teams are regarding the process, because she's also a team leader and she wants to strengthen those teams.
Yes. Okay. So this is Dr. Bill. He's been many years a psychologist.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it was 25 with preschool.
25 with preschool.
With the district and yay preschool. He worked with 5 high schools last year who just added their 7th and 8th to the high schools, and so he learned about teaming and collaboration, or was working with them with that, and so he decided to come and do this.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
And I'll introduce Leah. Leah's new to CPS this year. She's worked prior to being CPS as an ELA teacher and a math teacher, primarily grades 7 and 8. Majority of that in grade 7, but she's worked 4 through 8. And I believe you said Springfield?
Yeah.
And what's the other one? I don't know Ohio that
in
well.
Cincinnati School District. Okay. Not CPS, but in the greater Cincinnati area.
I don't understand how this district is formed.
Right.
She's, like I said, her first year here, she's a math coach. She works at 3 schools, Douglas, Westwood, and Woodford. She collaborates with the classroom teachers, giving them advice, kind of coaching them on, different strategies that they can use.
Okay.
This is Steve, and he came from Massachusetts, and he spent a lot of his time up there because he's just came up here recently. And he primarily worked with the 9th through 12th grade classrooms, and he was an IS. He's always been an IS, intervention specialist, but that's not what they called him up there.
What do they call them?
We're still special education.
Okay, so we're a little more progressive. Okay.
But primarily the students he worked with all had brain injuries. And so,
Okay.
that was a different...
TBIs? Yep, TBIs and ABIs.
Okay. Great.
And he also worked at elementary level K through 5, so that middle school is just now happening at Riverview, where he's doing middle school experience. And he's worked with every grade, K through 12, except for 6th grade so far. And his collaboration is more with teachers, obviously, with specialties, and then with students, and he's collaborating with them, mainly with teachers.
Okay.
On all the subjects.
Okay.
And he's taught all the subjects.
Great. Okay. Well, welcome. Okay, now, something very, very, very important, especially when we talk about collaboration and teaming. It's important especially to know what the expectations happen to be. Because a lot of times as far as we get together, as far as in groups, and there's no accountability because nobody knows what's expected of what we're attempting to do. So if you remember, I gave you an expectation because my expectation is that one person from each group would be able to introduce all of the other, quote, members. And that's important to know because if I didn't make that clearly stated, is that some of you might have been put on the spot and would have created as far as frustration and what you're going to see the second stage of the storming piece where the team and group does not work very, very well together. So we're going to begin, and I'm a wonderful fidgety. If you're ready, go ahead and project with pride. Introduce your group to us.
The whole group?
Yeah, the whole group. And feel free to help her if you need to, because again, we're here to build a team.
This is Joe Ciani. He is a science teacher at Dater High School. He's been teaching for 6 years. His second year at Dater, 4 years at Chicago. And he works collaboratively. He's KN trained. He works with other content teachers, and his students work collaboratively in the classroom.
Okay. And Joe and myself, we go back. And actually, Joe, you want to talk about that special project as far as you've been working on? Because he actually has something that is very, very important.
We did a we did when I was a champion. We did cyberbullying or bullying in general. We had an NBA theme, which stood for No Bullying Allowed, and that kind of took off. And then in advisory, what we've been doing, I had for my master's, I had to do my dissertation. I did a personal website of cyberbullying. So it's my website, sianiscience.com, but it's all about cyberbullying and things like that. And during our advisory, we actually went through the different stories and all that. So we were on the radio. Dr. Bill and I were on the radio with PG Sittenfeld. So I guess I kind of knew you from that as well.
So as I said, lots of, quote, knowledge about cyberbullying. So if that's something that is a concern at your particular school or your team, we have an expert as far as within our midst. Okay, Joe, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Okay.
This is Amy. She teaches at Riverview East. It's her first year as an IA. Intervention specialist. Sorry. Before this, she was in the biology field. And she works with her case coordinators and parents. She collaborates with them.
Okay. Welcome. Okay.
And this is Mike Feist. He's also an intervention specialist. He's been with CPS for 25 years and does great work at Data High School. And he collaborates. He's been a co-teacher, and he was at the PH house. Is that right? The children's home. Sorry.
Okay.
I missed that. Our conversation.
Okay. And yourself?
And then I'm Amy Rack. I'm a 7th and 8th grade math teacher at Data High School. And I work collaboratively with other teachers, and my students work within groups in their classrooms.
Okay.
In my classroom.
Wonderful. Well, welcome. I'm going to take the little fidget back. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go over here. And, sir, go ahead. Introduce your team to us.
Well, first of all, this is Mike, Penny, and Terry. And they all started out at Data High School. Like everybody here is from Data High School. So they all started at Data High School. Mike's still going. He's been teaching at Data for 3 years now. He teaches social studies, 7th grade. He believes that he has the second best team in the district because they collaborate. Because we've got the best team. But he thinks that he said that he thinks he has the best team. He works with I forgot.
Did you guys just get text by a team member?
Yeah, we just got a text.
We just got a text from our 3rd team member.
Okay.
Our team's here.
We're all here. We all need a text.
We're all here, yes. And this is Penny. Penny's the greatest art teacher in the world. And she's been teaching for 18 years. She spent 4 years in the military. She's in the Navy. Was in the Navy. But she collaborates. She has to collaborate. She teaches art K through 12. So she has to collaborate with everybody as far as teachers and things like that. This is Terry. She's directly on my team. We work together every day, and we do have probably the best team in the district.
Yep.
I agree.
But she's been teaching 18 years. She teaches math, 7th and 8th grade. And we collaborate, especially we've been collaborating a lot with our discipline. And we're trying to get a hold of that. I think here in a week or two, we should have everything in control and the kids just run smooth.
Okay.
That's my team.
Okay. Welcome. Okay. And go ahead and introduce our team.
All right. So I'll start off. We had Dr. Bill in the mix. Y'all know him as our great instructor, but he's spent 25 years working as a preschool psychologist. Made some great accomplishments there. We have Anne, who comes to us from Arc Montessori. She works as 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher. She's also a lead teacher. She's part of 4 different teams in her school, so she has to work very collaboratively with a lot of the staff and colleagues within Clark. To my left, we have Leah. Leah's a math coach here at CPS, her first year as a math coach, but she does have a lot of experience working with students in 7th and 8th grade, primarily teaching math, but she also teaches ELA as well. and she works at Douglas, Westwood, and Woodford, in case you guys were wondering. And I'm at Riverview East. I'm part of the best team in the city. Sorry, guys. I'm an intervention specialist. My first year in the district, just moved here from Boston. But again, I have to work very collaboratively with everybody to help our students succeed, not just on my special ed caseload, but all the kids.
Okay, wonderful. Welcome. Thank you. Okay. Now, remember who your teams are, because we're going to use, quote, these three teams a little bit later. So remember who are members of your team. Go back where you feel comfortable as far as to sit, because we're going to kind of move on. So wherever you're comfortable, feel free to move to that particular space. Okay. The activity is Think, Paired, Share. It's also a different instruction activity. In your handouts, you're going to see some information as far as about the activity. The great advantage of using this activity, especially with middle school students, we discovered, and when I worked with the middle school teams last year, is that, for example, when you're teaching and you have your students read something and they come the next day and you ask them a question, what type of response do you usually get?
Depends on the student.
Okay. Most of the times you get what type of response?
It depends on the student.
Okay, most times you get what type of response? Usually.
Usually in my fourth AA class, they give me all sorts of responses.
Okay.
They're wonderful.
Okay, and then the class, as far as that struggle, sometimes you get what type of response?
They don't know what to say usually.
Okay, don't know what to say. By using this particular activity, you don't get the blank stares, because the brain loves to socialize as far as with others. So when you get them to work as far as with each other, to quote collaborate, you get them as far as working as far as on the academic content. But the important thing to remember is you got to hold them accountable, because if you put students together, 7th and 8th graders, Joe, what might they talk about?
Social things more than academic.
Yeah, social more than academic. That's why you have to hold them accountable. So I love your response, sir. So as I said, I was looking for that glassy-eye look. And then the second part of this activity is called building a group ladder, because what I did is I took your dyad and then you formed a quad. And you can actually move this activity up to where it then forms a group of 8, and then half the class, and then the entire class as we did at the end. So it's called building a group ladder. By using this particular process, you will not get those glassy-eyed look. That one particular class that sometimes struggles because they love working with each other. The brain is a social brain. It loves to collaborate. Important to give them the opportunity. So it's called Think, Pair, and Share. Get information in your handouts as far as about if the activity you want to use. One thing Margaret Mead discovered: never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people, such as yourselves, can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has changed the world. Okay. And with that in mind, interesting little video I came across, and we've discovered is the solutions are right under our noses by working with others. So what I discovered, we are the solution. Solutions are not going to come from elsewhere. It's from within us and our team. And many times the solutions are right there in front of us if we can open up as far as those channels of communication. That's why collaboration is so important for us and our students. Okay, now as I mentioned, we're going to build in 2 breaks because I need to work as far as on a couple activities. And the first activity happens to be your 3-column sheet. So please take your 3-column sheet out. In the what column? Something in this brief 45 minutes together that you have learned today. Something you have learned today in the what column? Okay, and then remember the so what column is in your own words, reflection. What does that piece of information mean to you now? What does that piece of information in your own words mean to you now? And last, now what? How may you use this piece of information when you return to your program, to your students, to your classroom tomorrow? How may you use this piece of information when you return to your program, students, classroom tomorrow.